Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, he claims his wife has a secret.
Are you a serial cheater?
No, I don't cheat.
She's been hiding for 20 years.
Did you sneak off during your niece's wedding and perform a sex act on a guest?
No,
He says you did.
because he couldn't find me.
There are a lot of reasons that you would not be able to find somebody other than that they're performing a sex act. They could be getting another piece of cake. If you think she has slept with hundreds of men, why would you want to be with her?
She still is the woman of my dreams.
She's apparently the woman of a lot of people's dreams, if we believe you. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Thank you. Well, Jeff has written to me 3 times begging for help to get his wife Audrey to admit her secret that he swears she has been hiding for 20 years. The secret? Well, Jeff is convinced Audrey has been living a double life. One where she is a loving mother and devoted nurse, and another where she is a dangerous sex addict who has had affairs with hundreds of men. That's right, hundreds. Now, Jeff said he would be willing to forgive and forget Audrey's indiscretions, but says she absolutely refuses to come clean about even one act of infidelity. Take a look.
Picture is clear. In my mind, you're cheating.
Since 2014, Jeff, you have come up with stuff that's so bizarre.
There's absolutely no doubt that Audrey has cheated on me for 17 out of 20 years that we were married.
Let me say this. All I know is that I didn't cheat on you. So whatever that evidence you have, I don't even want to talk about it.
Audrey has a sexual addiction. If she has the opportunity to cheat, she'll cheat. Suspicious events occur, like the night you didn't come home, you didn't call, you lied when you said what you were doing.
So what do you think I was doing?
You were having an affair. Audrey has cheated on me with hundreds of men. Audrey meets the men through everyday acquaintances, professional, non-professional, random encounters. If Audrey was a spider, the men she has sex with are like flies that would land on a spider's web. Audrey puts herself in dangerous situations and has unprotected sex with other men. Facebook Messenger definitely became a tool in her little arsenal. Made it much easier for Audrey to successfully pursue these sexual encounters. When it comes to Audrey and her cheating, no place is sacred. For 17 years, whenever her parents went away on vacation, she would sleep with men at her parents' house. Audrey's so overconfident in her ability to deny and lie that she has gotten to where she really has no fear of getting caught.
Because there's nothing that I can say or do to prove that I didn't cheat. This is in your head. This isn't real.
All I want is Audrey to admit what she's done.
Well, Jeff says that Audrey is no different than a serial killer who has perfected her skill set so well that she is uncatchable. In fact, Jeff calls Audrey the Ted Bundy of serial cheaters.
Audrey is the Ted Bundy of serial cheaters. After watching the Ted Bundy documentary, it became readily apparent that Audrey's actions were eerily similar to Ted Bundy. She has a set pattern in how she lures in her victims. Audrey has this yearly ritual. In January, she selects a victim. In February, she's having this intense sexual relationship. By March, she's done with you and she kicks you to the curb. Whenever her parents went away on vacation, she would sleep with men at her parents' house. After her 3-month cycle, she comes home and acts like the dutiful housewife and like she never did anything wrong. Just like a serial killer, Audrey's perfected her skills, so that it's nearly impossible to catch her. She never comes home smelling like another man. She's never come home looked like she was up all night having sex with somebody else. It always happened that it was just like coming home from work. Audrey was able to cheat on me for 17 years without leaving a trace. She's like a professional killer. I truly don't believe Dr. Phil can help because she refuses to admit she's ever cheated, ever done anything wrong. Just like I've heard Dr. Phil say time and time again.
You can't change what you don't acknowledge.
And that's the real deal.
There is no doubt in your mind that your wife has cheated with hundreds of men.
No doubt whatsoever.
You say that she is the Ted Bundy of serial cheaters. Now, Ted Bundy got caught, but you say you haven't caught her yet, but you have evidence. What is your evidence?
Initially in 1997, when she had the first affair, that she didn't deny it. She didn't deny having the relationship with that other guy.
So that's 20-something years ago.
Right.
And you've been married how long?
20 years.
So this was before you got married?
Yes.
Why'd you marry her?
I somehow rationalized that it was due to stress, things that had happened in her childhood, the result of an abusive relationship.
So you think maybe this was just a reaction. After that, you get married and you think she has a yearly ritual. Like January, she starts luring in her victims. In February, there's a torrid affair. Then March, she dumps them. How does she get hundreds of them in there? Because that would work out to be one per quarter.
Well, I think
times.
she has encounters throughout the years, but it's not that ritual.
It's like one-night stands.
Yes.
In 20 years, you've never had another piece of solid evidence?
As far as solid evidence, and what I would interpret as solid evidence would be catching her red-handed.
But you've never seen her with another man?
I have seen her with other men, but not having sex, but in, say, like a bar or a social gathering where, I've witnessed her giving them these coy looks and then them responding, but never witnessed any actual inappropriate behavior.
But why the comparison to the serial killer?
Well, basically
It's the cycle?
It's the modus, the MO. That's it 100%. And then along with the things that lead a person to become a serial killer are present in her life, where she has had this history of abuse and then shows the signs of all the resulting symptoms of having been abused.
We have excerpts from your journal comparing her to a serial killer, because you've written this down. You say, according to Wikipedia, so we know it's got to be right.
Right.
A killer is a person who murders 3 or more people, the murders taking place over more than a month and including a significant break, a cooling off period between them. Now, according to Jeff, like a serial killer, she also would have multiple sexual affairs, so that would be the murders, but in her case, it's sexual affairs.
Correct, yeah.
She would have cooling off periods in between her affairs, sometimes months or years. Okay, and then according to Wikipedia, again, many serial killers have faced childhood trauma. The child's environment is the dominant factor, where they're often abused by a family member. And then according to you, the development of a serial killer is very similar to a serial sexual cheater. Factors that contribute to the making of a serial killer are present in my wife's childhood. My wife was tall as a child, taller than all the boys, so she was teased and called Frankenstein even by a teacher. She was also molested by a family member. Wow, that's a leap. So what's being tall have to do with it?
Well, that she was teased, emotionally abused, and made to feel like her only value was, when she got older, she realized she had, after the abuse, she realized she had this redeeming quality, this sex appeal. And
Did you ever look on the FBI profiling sites about the characteristics of a
no, I didn't.
serial killer?
No, I don't believe, not that I recall.
Because there are characteristics of a serial killer that FBI profilers have identified, and we use those.
And she's not a serial killer.
So your proof is basically that you've seen her give coy looks to men at times.
It was a look that I come to recognize.
And based on that, you've deduced that she's had sex with hundreds of men.
It's one of the pieces of the puzzle.
Well, I assume you gave me your strongest evidence. Is there a second piece of evidence?
The night she didn't come home, the lying about these pay stubs and being at work when she wasn't at work.
Audrey is here, and she insists that Jeff, well, she says he's delusional, and she denies every single one of his disgusting accusations, her words. We're going to add her to the conversation after the break and let her respond to this evidence. We'll be right back.
Jeff constantly interrogates me to try to prove that I've cheated on him.
You weren't home, you weren't at work.
How do you know I wasn't at home?
Jeff has not been able to produce one tangible piece of evidence to prove that I've been cheating. Jeff is completely delusional.
From monitoring his wife's movements with a tracking app to being accused of sneaking off to perform a sex act at her niece's wedding, Audrey says she's tired of living with her husband Jeff's delusional accusations.
You're saying like I have a pattern, like I bring men to my parents' house whenever they're away in Hawaii. That makes no sense, Jeff.
I can't forgive you for lying as long as you're lying.
I want to make it very clear that I have never cheated on Jeff. I didn't do anything. I didn't lie to you about going to work. Jeff is obsessed with thinking that I've cheated on him. Over the past 4.5 years, he's created this fantasy world where he believes that I've been cheating on him with multiple men. Now it's like 100 men, and it just is getting more and more weird. Jeff accuses me of being a whore that can't be trusted. Jeff's accused me of having an affair with a neighbor, the man we met in the Bahamas on vacation, with doctors. It never ends. While Jeff and I have been intimate, he's later told me that he's thought about me having sex with other men. Jeff believes I bring multiple men to my parents' house to have sex with them while they're away for 2 months every year.
How do you explain it? You weren't home, you weren't at work.
How do you know I wasn't at home? How do you know?
Jeff constantly interrogates me to try to prove that I've cheated on him. It can last several hours. Jeff is constantly hounding me to admit what I have done. Jeff has a tracker app on my phone so that he knows where I'm at. If I'm in a location that he deems questionable, he can call me. Jeff has not been able to produce one tangible piece of evidence to prove that I've been cheating. Jeff is completely delusional. There's absolutely no reasoning with him. I'm a cheater, and that's all there is to it.
Are you a serial cheater?
No.
Are you a serial killer?
No.
Do you kill the men you cheat with?
No. I don't cheat.
Well, that would explain why he doesn't have any evidence if you kill the men you cheat with. Did you go to your niece's wedding?
Yes.
Did you sneak off during the ceremony and perform a sex act on a guest?
No.
A wedding guest?
No.
He says you did.
I know he does. Because he couldn't find me.
Well, there are a lot of reasons that you would not be able to find somebody other than that they're performing a sex act on someone. They could be going to the bathroom. They could be getting another piece of cake.
It was a long bathroom break.
They could be doing a lot of things.
She told me that at her brother's wedding, another family member was taking a friend of his to the airport, and she performed.
That is absolutely not. I never told him that. He's construed this in his mind. What happened was I threw up from drinking too much, and the best man was in the back seat, and I threw up all over in his lap. There was no sexual contact.
Well, that's a big difference than... Now, I don't know if you've ever had either or, but it's hard to confuse the two.
Well, I wasn't there, so.
He said that you first cheated on him on Mother's Day in 1998.
Oh, yeah, I remember the accusation. When he came home, I was changing the sheets, and that meant I cheated. I had the neighbor over, and we had sex.
Because you were changing the sheets?
Yes.
What, don't you change the sheets occasionally?
Well, I don't know. I've never.
Well, doesn't she?
She does.
I mean, isn't that a regular thing? God, I hope it is.
It is a regular thing. It is a regular thing. But of course, it was with the surrounding circumstances. I come in. She won't look at me. She was obviously stressed or in a hurry. I guess he was leaving late, probably later than he should have, if he bumped into me coming out of the building.
This is an apartment building.
Correct.
Yes.
How many apartments?
Complex. There's like 1,000.
And so a man is coming out of your building as you're coming in.
Well, he thinks it's the man that I had an affair with.
And when you go in, she's changing the sheets. Therefore, that man had been in those sheets.
No. It was just so uncharacteristic.
Does he call you names?
Yes.
What's he call you?
A whore, a slut, a narcissist, a psychopath, and also the Ted Bundy of serial cheaters.
Okay, and excuse me.
Sorry.
That was an accident.
I'm watching.
Why is that okay with you?
Because I love him, and I know that he can't help it. I think something's wrong with him. I think something is mentally wrong with him.
So you make excuses for it?
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you. If you think she has slept with hundreds of men unprotected, you can't let her out of your sight. She goes to the grocery store, you can't even take her to a wedding. And she's performing sex acts on the guest. Why would you want to be with a woman that does that?
Well, when I met her, I thought she was the woman of my dreams. She still is the woman of my dreams.
Well, she's apparently the woman of a lot of people's dreams, if we believe you.
That's probably...
No, seriously, why would you want to be with someone like that?
Yeah, well, one reason for that is it's for the kids, the family.
Look, we got to take a break. Jeff says he's been able to get inside Audrey's mind and now insists he has evidence of her affairs. Well, we're going to look at this evidence that he's found in the canyons of her mind when we come back.
I attempted to FaceTime her in the Bahamas several times over the 5.5 hours, no answer.
I was a little tipsy because we had gone to a bar.
This is when I had my epiphany that she had been cheating all these years. I think these documents show a pattern
Of what?
of deception.
He had a psychotic break.
It finally hit me that Audrey had been cheating on me all these years after she came back from vacation in the Bahamas.
During this entire time, Jeff assumed I must be cheating because he couldn't get a hold of me whenever he wanted. But the reality is, I'm on an island. There was no way for him to get in touch with me.
I attempted to FaceTime her several times over the 5.5 hours, no answer. She finally called me at 11:30. She was obviously disheveled and intoxicated.
I was a little tipsy because we had gone to a bar, but I was with my daughter and her husband. That's it.
This is when I had my epiphany that she had been cheating all these years.
After that trip, his suspicions became much worse. It was like he had a psychotic break.
So I think these documents show a pattern
Of what?
of deception. When I caught Audrey in a lie about her pay stubs, it solidified my belief that she had been cheating on me. One time, Audrey came home from work and she said, "I think they cheated me out of one day of work." I said, "Where's your pay stub?" She goes, "I don't have access to it. It's on a work email and I don't have the password."
I lied because I was secretly saving money for the future.
2 years later, I stumbled across her pay stubs in her personal email account.
These documents do not prove that I was cheating on you.
It became clear to me that she had taken off the same days, the same weeks of the year when she was supposed to be working. Audrey was cheating at her parents' house, having sex with these men.
Okay, so in 2013, there were pay stubs that she said she didn't have, but you found out that she did have them. So you caught her in a lie, right?
Correct.
Okay, and so pay stub from January 27th, 13 to 2/9/13, Jeff says Audrey claimed to have worked at least 9 to 12 days during this time. Says the pay stub shows Audrey only worked 2 days. So she spent 7 to 9 days with her boyfriend. Now the pay stub 2/19/13 to 2/23/13, Jeff says Audrey claimed to work 9 days during this time. Says the pay stub only shows work 2 days. So again, 7 days with her boyfriend. Did you lie about this?
No. I don't freaking know when I worked overtime. I couldn't tell you what days I worked overtime. I worked overtime when there was overtime, and overtime wasn't always available.
See, from working with horses, I think this is where part of my thing comes from. I've become very observant.
So you say you've been able to figure her out, you're in her head, and things started to click. Explain that to me.
Well, it only clicked.
What do you mean you're in her head?
Well, it's just she knows me as well as I know her. We know that, she can answer my sentences probably before I can, before I can say it.
Yeah, because you only have like 5.
Right. Maybe 4.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Maybe
you're
2.
cheating, you're a liar, you're a whore, okay. Look, would you agree that your evidence is
Flimsy?
circumstantial?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You're the horse whisperer here. You say you're very observant. You say you're very observant. So in 20 years, don't you think that she might have slipped up somewhere? And
I could have caught her if I tried, but I wasn't a paranoid, delusional, suspicious husband. So,
be careful
but
now.
now you are.
But now I am, yeah. Well, now I
But now
definitely
you
appear
are.
to be.
We had the little thing
I've never
about
seen lightning strike in a
But
building.
it's true. Yeah, before, and that's the whole thing. Before 2014, he wasn't like this. I mean, there was that little thing about the neighbor thing, but we cleared that up. Apparently, you think I admitted it, but I didn't. But that's all right. Everything did move on, and we did go on with our lives and have 2 kids, and had a life. And then 2014, now he's like, you are.
Well, Audrey's oldest daughter says her mom has never cheated on her stepfather, Jeff. She says if Jeff doesn't stop his vile accusations, her mother needs to pack up and leave. We're going to add her to the conversation after the break.
I haven't cheated you all the
Right, and you know it.
I live in constant fear of upsetting him. Jeff has told me I could kill you for what you've done to this marriage. He's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Closed captioning provided by Well, Jeff insists that his wife is a lifelong liar and cheater who shares similar characteristics to a serial killer. In fact, he calls her the Ted Bundy of serial cheaters. Now, Audrey denies ever being unfaithful, but says Jeff is so convinced he is right that he's told her that he could kill her.
I haven't cheated you all the
Right, and you know it.
No, I know what I know.
You
never cheated
You're
on me.
a liar.
My marriage to Jeff has become emotionally abusive.
You were with your lover more than you were at work and with your family. And you can have the audacity to deny it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I live in constant fear of upsetting him. He's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. One minute, he's affectionate, considerate, sweet, and loving. But when he's in a state of delusion, he's hurtful and he says horrible things to me. And he degrades me.
Oh my.
Piece of
Thank you. That's why I don't usually say a word.
that you would deny that.
He calls me a slut, a skank, a psychopath, a narcissist, a whore, and a serial cheater.
I know what the it is.
I know you know, 'cause you're delusional.
No, I'm not.
You are.
On a few occasions, Jeff has told me I could kill you for what you've done to this marriage. It's just a threat, but it puts that thought in my head that he could potentially kill me. Last month, Jeff actually, for the first time, put his hands on me. He smacked me in the back because I was just laying there and he thought I wasn't listening while he was ranting. I was in a physically abusive relationship in the past, but the emotional abuse I get from Jeff hurts more.
Well, joining us via Polycom is Audrey's daughter, Carly. She says if her stepfather continues his abuse, her mother, just to protect herself and her sanity and maybe her physical well-being, needs to get out of this relationship. Carly, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Carly, you say that your stepfather is basically two different people. You say on the one hand, he's actually a very loving, caring, and nurturing stepfather, right?
Yes, he's always been a wonderful stepfather, and he's a wonderful husband to my mom in a lot of ways when he's not accusing her of cheating.
So do you think Carly is her Confederate here?
Well, I
she's
think
covering
she's
for her?
Loves her mother and she's loyal to her mother. And I don't think that she's covering for her, but I think her mother was able to hide it from her, even though I think she has seen signs of inappropriate behavior by her mother, but maybe she isn't recognizing it.
I haven't seen anything appropriate. I just wish that he didn't believe these things and that he didn't think that my mom would do all this, because she wouldn't.
And you've seen these vile texts that he sent to your mother, right?
Yes.
And what does it do to you when you read those? How do you feel about that?
It's shocking. I mean, it's hard to believe that he wrote them. I've known him since I was an adolescent when my parents got married, and he's always been a wonderful father, and, you know, it's just not something I would expect to hear him say. It's so out of character.
I've never shared any of this with anyone.
But you're saying it about her mother, and this is this young woman that obviously loves you.
Well, I would never
has
share it with my
compassion
daughter
for
if it was me.
But you did say it, and she has great compassion for you.
Well, and I'm sorry, I don't defend myself at all. And it is when it does happen, it is when I'm beside myself, distressed. It is like I am out of control. Thoughts have taken over. It's just.
So you lose control.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can go far enough to admit that there's a point at which something comes over you and you lose control of your thinking, you don't have an edit button, and your thinking can run away with you.
Yeah, I have a breaking point, and that, like I said.
Okay, that I can work with. Next, so where do Jeff's insecurities come from? We'll talk about that when we come back. Closed captioning provided by...
The first person I was ever in a relationship with, had sex with, cheated on me. I have no proof that she definitely cheated on me, but it was an emotional betrayal. That had an impact on all of the relationships after that. When I felt like things were going downhill, I would abandon the relationship. I've never cheated myself on anybody I've been with because of the experience I've gone through. If the roles were reversed and I had cheated on Audrey, I would divorce her because I could never live with the guilt.
Jeff is adamant Audrey has been cheating on him for over 20 years. But a text message he sent my staff revealed there might be more to his accusations than meet the eye. The year before I divorced first wife, had a relationship with another woman. We only had sex twice, but it was an intimate relationship. Just wanted to be truthful. Staff member, thank you for being honest. So in your tape piece, you said, I've never cheated on anybody. But that was not true, was it?
That's true. That was not true.
If there's somebody in this marriage that we know for sure has cheated in their history, it'd be you.
Yep.
And you've been cheated on before.
Yes.
And that hurt.
Indeed.
Now, I could bite my tongue off for quoting Freud, but he talks about projection, that sometimes we project onto others those things that we experience within ourselves. Do you think it's possible that that history of cheating and being cheated on sensitizes you to projecting that on to her?
No, I don't believe so.
Let's play a hypothetical game with me for a minute, okay? I'm not asking you to agree with it, just hypothetically. You can do that, right? What if, just for argument's sake, what if you're wrong? What if you've been putting her through all of this and it's the distortion of your view and not the reality? What if, just hypothetically,
Oh, I'm sorry.
what if?
I owe you the deepest apology that I could ever give you. And to be honest, I don't think I could live with you if I did. If I did find out that I was wrong, I'm sorry, I think I'd have to disappear from your life.
I stick by you through thick and thin, and then you realize that, oh, she didn't do it, so I'm going to leave
Well, why
now.
would you want to be with me?
Because I love you. Because I remember what you were like before you got like this.
Were you happy in these pictures?
I was.
Do you want that again?
Yes.
What if it's there for the taking? What if
Oh, I'd like it nothing more than...
there's something that's distorting your perceptions that you control? And there's a switch you could flip and you could have that feeling again. You'd want to know that, right?
Sure, you've got me interested.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued because I can't imagine what the reason is, but...
I'm going to tell you right after the break. Before the break, I said, what if there's an alternative explanation? If we look at a timeline, you say this got really worse just lately, right?
Yes,
right?
since 2014.
And I'm not saying it hasn't been a problem along, but you said around 2013, 2014, it got really bad.
Yeah, 2014.
Correct? And so we're rolling along here, okay? And so, you know, here we're at 12, we're at 13, we're at 14. Things took a real downturn here, correct?
Correct.
What happened along about here? What happened along this time in your life?
Well, he went on disability the year before,
2012.
12.
Yeah. So right in this period here, you find out that you have a bunch of discs that are damaged, and you have to go on disability at that point, right? Because you've got crushed disc. I mean, this is serious, right? This isn't somebody just say, you know, like, my back kind of hurts. You have MRIs, you have problems. There's a lot of things you can't do that you used to do. I don't think it's a coincidence that in this period leading up to when he began to get very, very sensitive, suspicious, paranoid, whatever you want to call it, about you, was absolutely on the heels of you being constitutionally compromised. Subsequent with that, you also got prescribed opioids, right? And you've had to take them long term, which you have done, which I can tell you means that you are undoubtedly addicted to them, although you have, from everything I can tell, managed them very responsibly and done exactly what you've been told to do with them. But let me show you the long-term effects of opioid use. There's disturbed REM sleep. That's quality sleep, stage 4, rapid eye movement sleep. You have sleep problems here. You have sleep problems here. You have paranoia here from the drugs that you're taking. But the two main things are sleep. So let's look at what happens when you have sleep deprivation. You have paranoia, you have hallucinations, you have symptoms of depression, you have anxiety. You take those effects and then the effects of the sleep, you compound that with a compromised body image and self-image, and all of a sudden you say, something happened. He just all of a sudden, bang. I don't ask myself why you've had this frenzied focus. I ask myself, why not? If we could handle that and fix that for you, would you want to do that?
Sure.
When we come back, Audrey says she definitely wants to get this fixed because she says she loves this man and she does not want this marriage to fall apart. She does not want to be a victim of what you fear you create. She said she wants to keep her marriage and her family together. Is that possible? We'll talk about that when we come back. Closed captioning provided by... I have to tell you, Jeff, if it matters to you, I will tell you that I would stake my reputation that she has not been sleeping with hundreds of men having unprotected sex over the last 20 years. That she's not been sleeping with dozens of men having protected or unprotected sex over the last 20 years. I also believe that she loves you a lot. She would have to, because you have given her every excuse on God's earth to walk. So I'm telling you, I think you're wrong, and I think I know why, and I think I know how to fix it. And what I want to do is I want to send you to the P&P Center in Dallas. It's a terrific diagnostic and treatment center where they're going to do a brain scan and they're going to look at the chemical balance in your brain, and they're going to adjust this. They're not going to take you off your pain meds because I don't think you want to live without those given what you have here. But we can do some things to adjust the interaction it has with the dopamine neurotransmitters. And I think that's going to change a whole lot of your experience. And I think it's going to also get you some rest. And I think that's going to cause you to see the world in a whole lot different way. Well, tell me what you're thinking.
It's just been a pretty rough road. Nice to know maybe there's some hope. For some change.
Yeah, I'm not here to judge you, I'm here to help you. That's why I'm saying just let me...
This is what I was afraid of, huh?
What?
Oh, you crying?
Yeah.
Hey, let me tell you, big boys don't cry, but men do. And okay. I want to thank all my guests today. A special thanks to Dr. Frank Lawless and the P&P Clinic for offering to help Jeff. And Jeff, I want to acknowledge you for having the courage to come here and put this all out. Fair enough? Are you glad you came?
You bet.
Okay. We'll get this taken care of. See you next time. them very responsibly and done exactly what you've been told to do with them. Them very responsibly and done exactly what you've been told to do with them.